Hello everybody, this is Troy Napsker with the Advanced Spine Joint Wellness Center in Medina. Today we're going to be talking about the 10 secrets to weight loss. This is our nutrition workshop that we do routinely in our office. We do this Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. It's done right in our office. Anybody can attend this workshop. It is absolutely free. You're welcome to bring a friend. You can also find this workshop on YouTube. You can find it on Twitter, Facebook, and soon, starting January of 2017, we'll be doing our video lecture series live on Facebook Live. So stay tuned. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook. All of the links for these videos and our websites will be in the bottom section of this video on YouTube. You can find all the information that you need or links that you need to contact us there. So let's dive right into today's information. Today what we're going to be doing is talking about, again, the 10 secrets to weight loss and our nutrition workshop. You're going to hear this term that you see up here at the very top quite frequently throughout this workshop: toxic and toxicity and toxic overload. And what we're going to do today is discuss why are so many Americans unable to lose weight and keep it off. And many of us are unable to release the fat-burning hormones that we have inside our bodies, and many of us just don't realize you can control these like a light switch. You can turn them on and you can turn them off. Now, toxic overload and gut health. Let's talk about this. This is very important to understand why many of us are stuck. Why won't things work? So number one, let's talk about some toxins. There are many different things in our foods, chemicals such as artificial sweeteners, artificial colors. There are many things in the foods that aren't designed to be there. And let's talk about this first toxin, gluten. Everybody's heard of this. We're all becoming more aware of it. But gluten, it's very toxic to our GI tract. And what happens is most of the particles and small nutrients that we need for our body to work correctly are absorbed just after nutrients leave the stomach in a small area of the small intestine called the duodenum. And if we could look inside here, what we would see is there's little fingers sticking out of the GI tract where nutrients are absorbed. And what gluten and other toxins do is they create inflammation within the GI tract. And this inflammation, it looks like mucus. This mucus is really thick, and what it does is it plugs up these little fingers that are hanging off the GI tract, making it impossible for particles to be absorbed and the nutrients that we need to actually function properly. Number two, now, we've all been exposed to antibiotics over and over and over. I am a prescriber. For years, as people would come into the office and they had a sniffle, a sore throat, a cough, whatever it may be, we would just prescribe an antibiotic. And we've overprescribed to the point to where we're now recognizing that, hey, we have to minimize the use of antibiotics. But antibiotics are also found in our meats, milk, and other types of processed foods. Now, why is this a problem? What happens with antibiotics and the overexposure of antibiotics is in this small intestine, the duodenum, where we're trying to absorb these particles, the antibiotics are killing some normal bacteria that we should have there. Now, there's supposed to be bacteria there. There's also supposed to be Candida there, yeast, but they're supposed to be in balance. And what has happened to many of us is that overexposure to antibiotics through various different sources has essentially killed many of the normal bacteria that should be in the small intestine. Now, these bacteria are important to us. They break down food, and what it does is it helps to break down food into small nutrients and particles. So now we've created two problems. We have inflammation in the GI tract, making it very difficult to absorb particles and nutrients. And number two, we've lost some of the ability to even break foods down into these small nutrients and particles. So if you look at number three, we're unable to absorb nutrients correctly. Number three, we're unable to absorb nutrients correctly. Number four, we become nutritionally deficient. We develop cravings soon after we eat, 30, 45 minutes. We hear this all the time. And the reason being is we're not getting nutrients. You can't absorb them. We can't absorb nutrients. You're going to continue to have cravings and feel hungry. Now, let's talk about health. What is health? According to the World Health Organization, health is a state of being without illness or disease. So let's talk about the World Health Organization. In 2014, they did a study, and they wanted to see out of hundreds of industrialized nations worldwide who had the best healthcare system. And it was fairly obvious who had the best healthcare system. That was a no-brainer. You know, if we have a heart attack or you have a stroke, we are in the best possible hands in the world to have a potentially life-threatening or life-saving procedure occur so we can continue to live. These surgeons, the people we have in our ERs, they are absolutely amazing. So we have the best healthcare system in the world, according to the World Health Organization. But the problem was, where did we rank as a country in terms of health as compared to other civilized countries? Now, this is where we had a problem. So where did we rank in terms of health? Well, it was 37. This is back in 2014. 2 years later, we continue to go down the list. We're further and further down. I think we're 40 or 50 at this point. Now, so the question is, we have the best healthcare system, but does that mean that we are on the right track as a country and with our health? And obviously the answer is absolutely not. And let's talk about why here. So, obesity. We're going to be talking about obesity and what problems might you be experiencing that can be resolved through correct eating. Look at all these three pictures right here. The one over here on the left, this young lady feeling tired, fatigue. We see folks with this all the time, fatigue, thyroid issues. In the middle, obesity. We're going to see some really striking slides here in a few minutes. Over here on the right, headaches, migraines. There's so many things that are associated with poor eating, and many folks don't realize their symptoms are coming from bad eating and bad foods. So today we're going to show you how our office can help you with weight and other healthcare issues. And again, through this video series, there's going to be more than just this one. This is the tip of the iceberg, just to bring to attention toxicity, because it's a big problem. Now, here's a big problem in our society. According to the CDC, currently 70% or 69% of adults and 34% of children are already overweight as we speak, as of 2016, rolling into 2017. Big problem. So let's look at some obesity trends. Now this is we're going to fast forward through this really quick, but in 1985, if you look at the map here of the United States, the states that are white, there were so few people that were obese that there was very little data to even support even making them a color. Light blue states, about 10% or up to about 10% of their population was obese. These dark blue states, 10 to 14% of the population was obese. So this is 1985. Now, with the introduction, what happened in 1985 and in the 80s, we became more and more reliant on processed foods. We've become a more busy, fast-track society. And what do? We run, and we eat more and more processed foods. And look what happens with the obesity trends as we start to fast forward here. 1986, 1987, 1988, we're seeing more states become colored. 1980, 1990, and here's we coming in 1991, we see a darker blue state pop up. And what this means is that 15 to 20% of the people living in those states are now obese. And the light blue states, 10 to 15%. So we're seeing some bad things occur as we come into 1991. Now, as we fast forward just a little bit further and we go through, we're seeing more states come in as the obesity epidemic continues to occur. Now we see yellow states. Big problem, because greater than 20% of their population is now obese. We're seeing the dark blue states where 15 to 20% of their population is obese. So you're seeing the trend here. So as we fast forward now through, we're going to see another color pop up, that's orange. And we're seeing that 25% of the people living in that state are now obese. And we're seeing the obesity trend just spiral out of control as we fast forward here. We're going to get up to the red states now, 30% of our population obese in those states. And the remainder of the states continue to get worse and worse. And we're going to drive on through here to the current data, which was 2010. States in red, greater than 30% of their population are obese. In orange, 25 to 30%, and yellow, 20 to 24%. This is terrible. This only goes up through 2010. We are 6 years behind in updating this slide, so this is absolutely striking. You can see the trends over this 25-year period. So why is this so important? What does this mean? That by the year 2030, 90% of Americans will be overweight or obese. This is a big problem because, and it's especially frightening because excess weight and obesity increase the risk of all life-shortening conditions. Heart disease, cancer, diabetes. It doesn't matter what you want to list on there that's a life-shortening condition. Obesity is associated with it. And if you don't think it's a real problem, keep your ears in tune here, because there's so much more going on. So the problem gets worse every single year because the foods that we're eating don't provide our bodies with any nutrients. And we have so much inflammation in our GI tracts and so poor ability to break down these nutrients into the proper particles because of the loss of the bacteria in many Americans' GI tract, that our bodies are in a state of starvation. They think they're starving because they're not getting any nutrients. And your bodies are going to continue to hold on to anything it can get, and calorically, any calories it can get, it's going to hold on to them because it thinks it's starving. And the second we get things moving in the opposite direction, your body's going to turn into a fat burning machine. Now, most weight loss programs simply focus on losing weight, and they pay no attention to getting rid of junk. And they're only focused on counting calories. So, for example, some programs say you can eat a Twinkie as long as you count the points or track the calories. I don't know how many of you out there think that a Twinkie has nutrition, anything nutritionally of value in it, but I can tell you that it doesn't. Those Twinkies can, I think, survive a nuclear holocaust. Now, calorie-restricted junk foods are a temporary fix that leave you craving more toxic foods. Again, if you go back to that first slide, when we eat foods that are toxic for our bodies, it's creating that inflammation in the GI tract, and we don't have the ability to break food down into small particles, and we can't absorb nutrients. And the food that we're eating doesn't have any nutritional value as it is. So, big problem. Now, I can't see you guys, but typically out in our workshop on Wednesday night, by a show of hands, I would say, how many of you would agree that what you're doing now isn't working? And quite frankly, typically we see just about everybody raise their hands. So most weight loss programs profit from selling prepackaged foods from a box, bag, or a can. Many of these companies are selling foods over here on the right. I'm not going to name them by name, but you can see them up there. And these are prepackaged processed foods that have exactly what we're going to teach you to avoid by eating properly. Excess fat and toxins are going to continue to keep you gaining weight. These foods over here are not going to help your body become nutritionally set. Now, according to the World Health Organization, processed foods are the cause of increased obesity rates and diseases, including cancer and heart disease. This is the World Health Organization, folks. This is a significant statement. This is nothing new. They said this back in 2010. So here's a good example of things. Now, processed foods aren't good for humans. They're not. And we know they aren't good for animals. So, point being, I'm old enough to remember when I went to the zoo on a field trip when I was a kid, we were able to take some of the foods out of our little brown sack lunches and we were able to feed it to the animals. And it was awesome. It was super cool. But they stopped letting us do that. And why is that? The processed foods that we were giving to the animals were making them sick. So if you think about that, the foods we were giving animals made them sick. And we continue to eat them. So each and every day, the foods that would make animals sick, we continue to eat. Humans also get sick and die from eating junk foods. Look at all these foods over here on the right. I don't know about any of you guys out there, but I can tell you that this whole pile of things over here, all the things I see here, these things are not going to help us live a longer, healthier, more active life. So false advertisements. We see advertisements all the time that promote ingesting toxic substances. And this has been around, and these tools have been around for marketers for many, many years. Now, this ad on the right probably came from the 50s or 60s by the look of it. But I'm going to show you some more current ones here on the next couple of slides. But this one here says, laboratory tests over the last few years have proven that babies who start drinking soda during that early formative period have a much higher chance of gaining acceptance and fitting in during those awkward preteen and teen years. So do yourself a favor. Do your child a favor. Start them on a strict regimen of sodas and other sugary carbonated beverages right now. Are you kidding me? So, and that last statement, for a lifetime of guaranteed happiness. Unbelievable. So marketers are good. Happy. Everything's happy. Look here. Here's a Happy Meal from McDonald's. McDonald's is great. They prey upon kids and their susceptibility to advertising. Hey, everything's happy. We're going to get the Happy Meal. And what's in there? A toy. Everybody's happy. Look at this over here with the Lay's. Happiness is simple. It says here down here on the bottom. I'm pointing at it with the pointer on the computer here. Lay's. Hey, happiness is simple. Everything's happy. Everything that we get marketed to is happiness. If you look at Coke right now. What does it say on a Coke can? It's really peculiar. It says open happiness. So we're susceptible to some of these marketing techniques. Now, Weight Watchers supposedly sets the standard for healthy dieting, but they're owned by the Heinz Company. See right here, Heinz Company. There's the Heinz Company, one of the biggest and most profitable companies out there that sells processed junk food, and they're doing it just in another form. They just label it Weight Watchers. It's Heinz and Weight Watchers, same thing. And look at these foods over here. I don't know about you guys, but I don't see a single thing there that is going to give us anything of nutritional value, and it doesn't, and none of them do. So this is a direct quote from the Weight Watchers website. I'm just going to read the underlined portion here. Treats are an important part of today's world. Including 1 or 2 daily treats in a reasonable portion adds enjoyments to eating, reduces feelings of deprivation, and supports a sustainable and realistic eating pattern. Are they serious? So, now, the point being here, so here, I just want to make sure you guys understand what we're saying. We're not saying that you can't have delicious snacks and foods. What we are saying is you need to eat things that are delicious and, being the key word, nutritious. Now, this cheesecake over here on the right, made entirely out of raw, unprocessed ingredients. Totally organic cheesecake over here. So it's not that we can't have these things. We're just going to change the way that we get them and how we make them. So when you embark on a weight loss program, and I don't like to call it weight loss program, I like to call it a health program. And the fact that we're going to change somebody's health and the way that they feel, weight loss is always going to be a side effect of good, proper nutrition. Now, you should do this because you want to enjoy your life to the fullest. You don't want to miss out on valuable life experiences because you're either overweight or unhealthy, or this has contributed to other medical problems such as diabetes. And you have friends and family members who depend on you to be functioning at 100%. So now, we offer a one-on-one evaluation, and this is free. When you come in for a one-on-one evaluation, we have a nutritionist here. You can also meet with one of the doctors. We'll help you find out a way. We'll help you find out if your hormones aren't working properly. So, let's talk about this. Fat-burning hormones, the 10 most common reasons you may not be triggering your fat-burning hormones. Number 1, this is one of the most common. Most folks are under eating, reducing calories. Number 2, skipping meals over here, letting yourself get hungry. These things all slow down your metabolism. And let's talk about our metabolism. Our metabolism is kind of like a fire. And if we want our fire to burn hotter and we want our metabolism to burn hotter and burn calories, are we going to make a fire burn hotter by throwing wood in it? Or are we going to make it burn hotter by not throwing wood in it? Well, that's an easy answer. We want to get our metabolism going. We need to throw some wood in it. But throw gas on the fire and it's going to burn really fast and burn out. You throw some good old anthracite coal on it, you're going to start burning, you're going to burn that fire for a long, long time and burn it hot. And that's what we need to do to get your metabolism going. Number 1 reason metabolism slows down and the fire goes out, you're not giving it any fuel. Number 2, eating refined sugars and grains. We'll talk about these things. A lot of folks are confused about refined carbohydrates and what does this mean, sugars and grains. They're in lots of places that you may not think you're getting them. Not everybody can see the obvious over here. Cookies, donuts, all the things. We all love to eat those things. But they're also in other places that are hidden, and you may not know that you're still getting refined sugars and grains. A lot of folks just don't realize it, and they all lead to weight gain. Number 3. Eating too much protein with excess sugar. Eating protein with sugar will slow down digestion and not allow you to absorb nutrients. This is a very common pitfall we see a lot of folks fall into, overeating. That's another big one. Many of us are just eating way too much, way too little. They're not eating, we're eating way too much, and we're eating it all in one big sitting, typically for a lot of people, right before bed. Overeating right before bed, not eating anything all day long. So we've kept that fire out, and now we're going to throw a bunch of fuel on it as we go to bed. Overeating. Drinking alcohol. Alcohol triggers insulin. Insulin triggers weight gain. So drinking excess alcohol. I want to make note of that. Glass of wine a day or 1 beverage a day. Some of these things, okay. But many of us are consuming more than we should, and alcohol triggers insulin and, again, weight gain. Caffeinated drinks like coffee or cola. Caffeine in excess actually creates inflammation in the GI tract, like we were talking about earlier before. Caffeine will create inflammation in the GI tract, thus making it very difficult for us to absorb nutrients from food. Now, what are you thinking? Is a lot of folks, I don't have the willpower to eat less of the bad things, or quit eating sugar, or stop drinking colas. And some folks out there may be thinking, I want to lose weight, but I don't think I can change my habits. Don't worry, because there is hope, and we can certainly help you. And let's talk about a few other things. What else would inhibit triggering the release of fat burning hormones? What other problems are out there? Exercise. We see folks that are just exercising at a very low intensity, and it really isn't doing anything of significance for their body. We really aren't burning any significant calories, and we aren't speeding up that metabolism. So the wrong exercise or no exercise at all. Don't worry, we can help. We'll get you moving. If you're in pain, we can take care of that too. We help with that. Now, too much stress. Unfortunately, most Americans now have more stress than ever before. We are running here, running there, run everywhere. And stress is increasing cortisol production. And everybody's heard of cortisol before. It's a big thing for the past 5-10 years. And yes, this will start to make you gain weight. Stress is huge, and being able to control stress and manage stress is very easy. We'll talk to you about that, how to balance the adrenal glands and manage stress, poor sleep habits. Many of us are getting to bed way too late, getting too little sleep, and getting poor quality sleep, all which are going to slow down your ability to lose weight. Now, let's talk about the most important reason yet. Most people may not be able to release their fat-burning hormones because you actually have poor liver function. The body needs a healthy liver to maintain a healthy weight. Now, you can go to your family doctor, and many of you have probably had lab tests. Your liver's functioning just fine in terms of the liver function tests. What we mean here is that the liver is kind of like an air filter on a car. And how many of you have taken your car in for an oil change? And every single time, the happy little guy at the oil change place, he always walks up. First thing they do is they bring your air cleaner up and they say, "Sir, I'm sorry to inform you, but your air cleaner is dirty. And in order to maximize your engine performance and gas mileage, you need a good clean filter in order for your engine to work correctly." Of course. So they always ask you, do you want to change the filter? And of course, everybody's going to say yes, and I do as well. We're going to change the filter because you want your engine to run correctly. The liver is that filter, okay? All these toxins, all these things that we're eating are clogging the filter. Your liver is like a filter. There's many things going through there, and it slows down the ability of the liver to process sugar and hormones correctly. So oftentimes, we just need to be doing some cleansing, clean up the liver. It's a 3-step process in getting someone to actually start losing weight. And before you know it, your body's turned into a fat-burning machine. Number 1 is remove years of toxins that have built up in the body and clog up this carpet, the little fingers in the small intestine. We got to get that stuff out of there. Number 2 is we've got to reset or get bacteria back in the GI tract. We've got to create balance between bacteria and Candida in the GI tract so we can break down food into small particles to be absorbed in the now cleaned up carpet in the small intestine where these particles need to be absorbed. And then establish proper eating patterns for the remainder of someone's life. It's really not that hard to do. We have testimonial after testimonial after testimonial. If you go to our Facebook page, you'll see those, and even some of them up on our YouTube station. Now, step 1 is necessary because we are all exposed to toxic, chemically treated, synthetically produced food, and we've been exposed to these things throughout our whole life. For many people, their whole life, they've been eating these things, and you are just terribly, terribly toxic. So number 1, we got to get rid of the toxins. Number 2, a purification or a toxin elimination program uses whole foods and herbs to give the body the resources it needs to purify itself and get to its proper weight. All of these things we can teach you to find in a grocery store right in your neighborhood. Every single neighborhood has a grocery store where these can be found. They're not difficult to find. Now, when our liver is functioning properly, and we're actually absorbing nutrients and our metabolism is working correctly, cravings disappear. You'll find that you're not hungry anymore. And this can start as soon as you begin a program. As soon as you learn how these simple steps, your body will start doing these things. Cravings will disappear, fat will start coming off, and energy is going to increase. Now, Without a three-step process, the body will remain imbalanced. No matter what we do, a lot of folks will try to skip step 1 or skip step 2 or skip step 3, and they're still in imbalance. Now, you might be able to lose some weight on another program, but most folks gain it back. So a lot of folks come in, they say, you know what, I've lost 1,000 pounds over the years, and I've gained, I've found all 900 of it. They've maybe lost some, some weight, throughout the years going on these things, but they tend to find it back. And the reason being is we haven't changed our patterns and our habits for the long term, and our fat-burning hormones are still not working properly. Folks, you can turn these things on and off just like a light switch on a wall. So, examples of fat-burning hormones. There's many more, but thyroid, growth hormone, testosterone, glucagon, adrenaline, we can control these things. There are ways to control them naturally and begin releasing them. And when your body is in proper balance, your fat-burning hormones will begin to function properly. Now remember, in order to trigger your fat-burning hormones, you need to have a liver that is functioning optimally. This is the most important thing I can tell you. The three-step process helps the body to become balanced as it is losing weight. Once the body is in balance, it can maintain the correct weight. Folks, this is a real picture of a real patient over here in this office, and we have many, many more. If you go to our website, www.drgood.clubreduce.com, you'll see testimonial after testimonial after testimonial. Now, we can help you no matter what's your goal, whether you want to lose weight, recover from chronic pain, improve your health, get rid of diabetes, manage diabetes better, or just feel better, just sleep right and have better energy. Now, when you come in for and again, this is a free one-on-one personalized evaluation with a nutritionist or one of our doctors. You're welcome to meet with them one-on-one, and we're going to go through a computerized symptom assessment and decide what do we need to do. There's nothing we can't manage in this office. If we believe hormones are out of balance, we can draw labs. If they are not out of balance, we can get you on a program. There is no task too big for us to handle. In the office, we have naturopathic doctors, a medical doctor, there's PAs, there's nurse practitioners, anybody that we need here in the office to determine why your body won't work. We can find out. We also have a functional medicine program which can look at micronutrient deficiencies, looks at thyroid issues. So, folks, I want to thank you for listening in. With this on this video series, we're excited to be a part of your weight loss journey. We're excited to help no matter what the problem may be. First step is just getting through the door. Give us a call. It's the hardest part for many folks is just getting here. Step 1. Meet with one of the coaches for an hour so we can decide what is going on here with you. Again, that is a free visit. There is no charge for that visit. It's a personalized, computerized assessment, and then the coaches can decide what needs to be done there. We never start any programs without going through cost, whatever those may be. Bring in a copy of your driver's license, insurance card. We can always look at those things for you. If you have questions, please give us a call, 330-721-6504. You can call another one of our nutrition experts directly. His name's John L. You can contact him at 330-242-7669. Below this video, all of the website links will be available for you. Folks, we look forward to helping you. If you have any questions, give us a call. Keep an eye out on Twitter, again, Facebook, and YouTube for our video lecture series, Facebook Live, and more information to come. Have a great night. We'll talk soon.